So obviously this whole story where, like, I'd also heard things from behind the scenes, because as people might know, 100 Thieves is largely the ex-CSGO pros, in fact, some of them quite recent pros. I had also heard similar things, that basically it wasn't the players that decided those moves, that was like more org decision, and then they're sort of like in a situation where it's like, you're sort of waiting and see. So what was the vibe you got from that, Gia? Did you actually get the vibe that it was almost like the players, like, it sounds like they're low-key sort of dissenting against the org a bit with how they're putting this out?
Well, so yeah, the Hiko clip, the one that I'm assuming you're referencing, is the one that got shared on Reddit, where he was talking about how they were disappointed because the two players they'd been looking at were Cryo and Xander, both of whom went to different NAVCT orgs. Cryo went to XSET, Xander went to V1, but they both originally actually came from the same team. They were both on SOAR together. And Hiko was kind of talking about how he was really disappointed that they hadn't been able to get them for like whatever reason it was. And I don't know, like I at least have, Hiko's kind of known a bit, at least as the golden child of 100 Thieves. Like there's all these memes about how like Nadeshot's going to constantly blow up the roster, but they're just going to build around Hiko. So I suppose to an extent he can get away with saying stuff like that a little bit more, but I'm kind of like watching 100 Thieves with a sort of suspicious eye at the moment, because if they do end up dropping their 2 new players again, then their 4 new players that they added over the last 2 months will have each basically had 2 weeks to play, and
True, yeah.
And it's just like I'm just very I don't even have like an overall general opinion about whether or not players should be talking about or expressing their opinions about their disappointment. It's probably not the best idea to be talking like on a live stream about how we were really disappointed we didn't get the players we wanted. So here are 4 others that we picked up. We picked up 2, they weren't good enough. We picked up another 2. I don't think that's probably the best for team morale. But yeah, I suppose that's their shit to deal with. But like the whole thing with 100 Thieves, like in general, I have no idea what the fuck is going on inside their roster. There was some clip that Nade shot that actually got deleted, unfortunately, of Nade shot when he was doing his watch party this weekend, where he was like, as you guys know, I'm really disappointed because we're here to like fucking win, and like I'm really grateful for Bang and JC Stani for stepping in. They've got bright futures ahead of them. It's like, what bright future? Is there bright future not with 100 Thieves? You about to fucking get rid of them as well? So I just wish 100 Thieves would just stand by their fucking roster, whether it's Hiko who's going to be supporting the people who are on their team, or Nature who's supporting the people on their team. The people on the team, to some extent, need some support, otherwise it's going to keep happening.
Technically, he's not wrong. By releasing them from the 100 Thieves org, he might have given them a brighter future. Thanks for this.
Yeah, I think that might be
You're a very kind individual, right? Yeah. It's like, no, what do you think about this though, Sideshow? Obviously, any angle you want to go on it.
I think the opening question that you put forward was, is it some kind of dissent within the team? And I think dissent is quite difficult when they don't have, as far as I'm aware, a GM making those decisions in the first place. So I think that's, I think the org, the number one thing that it lacked in the offseason was guidance. And I think it brings, comparing again the CS world to the Valorant world as well, I think one of the things that I've really appreciated from the time in Overwatch and Overwatch League was that all of the orgs had this fake structure installed so early on that kind of grew into real structure. And what I mean by that, for anyone who's unfamiliar, is that the league just kind of imposed this hierarchy of you must have a GM and you must hire coaches and then you must have players. So none of the teams were player driven, player run, which tends to be a bit more chaotic. Now, that wasn't the case in a lot of situations because there were bad GMs being hired early on.
Of course,
but once you get to a position where you're hiring competent people, that structure is way better for a team overall. Just gives you more of a vision. And I think one of the things that Hiko was probably frustrated about, if I'm trying to put myself in the players' shoes, is if they did want Cryo and Xander, it's not the players' responsibility to go and negotiate and seek those buyout deals and see whether they have that budget available. You know what I mean? Those are not player decisions to make. And yet the players might be the people saying, let's pick up those guys, and maybe not understanding the barriers that might be in place for that acquisition. And then the rumor was that they were going after Breeze as well, with the CS player. So that complicated things, I think, too. But overall, I think the whole team needs to just start over again. I don't think they should be standing by their roster personally, because I don't think they had a roster identity to begin with. So I kind of feel bad for Bang and Stani because they're not bad players at all. They're very good players. But I think they were added in to a bad situation. Yeah, I want to say a bad core, not because the three players of
Right.
Ethan Asner and Hiko are bad players, but because their roles were all mixed up. They didn't really know what they wanted to play. They didn't have an identity for the team.
Yeah.
And so I think it would be a brighter future for Bang and Stanley to go and pursue their options elsewhere, frankly, and for 100 Thieves to just sit down and try and think about, okay, what are we aiming for? And from there, what team do we want to build? Because it's clear to me from Nadeshot's comments that they actually do want to like at least attend international tournaments. But to attend them, you have to be top 2 in North America.
Yes.
That's not an easy task in the current climate where the North American teams have all gone through such development recently. I mean, Sentinels are not likely to be top 2 in North America. It's probably going to be, like a C9 and V1 or C9 Optic, something like that, So trying to compete with rosters like that when you only have 2 months to put them back together for stage 2, that is a tough task for anybody.
So here's my kind of like just opinion on your opinion. So what you
Just
what
give
you
your
said
opinion.
about,
Go
like,
ahead.
They need to blow up the whole roster. They need to start again. When you and you made a point that I actually agree with, which is this idea that all of their roles are mixed up. I think somewhere else in that stream with Hiko, like they were talking about how like none of them want to op. So Asana's left to op,
Right.
but Asana doesn't feel super comfortable on the op, so they want to get an op special. They don't have one. So people clearly not on the roles they necessarily want to be. They had this role switch to even bring in Bang and JC Stani. So like the roles they were already playing before have been messed up. Like on all these different maps, they're all switching between their roles. But I think the thing is, if they are going to blow up their roster, the important thing is, and obviously you can't change this retroactively, and we don't know necessarily the internal details on this, but the important thing should have been that when Bang and JC Stani were brought in, knowing that all of these like role changes and stuff were going to come as part of that, they will have had to have said to them beforehand, this could just be a temporary sub situation and we just need to get through the stage. The thing that makes me uncomfortable is the idea that Nadeshot has picked up Bang and JC Stani, giving them this idea that they're going to be building this 100 Thieves around them like they did with Baby J and Eccles, who were then blindsided by the decision to get rid of them. That's the bit that makes me really uncomfortable, is like, if you're going to pick up 2 players, change all your roles, like at least act like you're going to commit to that decision, or let it be known that you're not committing to that decision.
Make it a
You're
trial
just
or something.
through the stage. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
No, I definitely agree with that sentiment. Like, it's very different to bring someone in with the implication, like, you're just in the team now, like, welcome, etc. Start making a squad, and then you're booted, like, as you say, like, 2 weeks later, essentially. Like, what? That can't.
That's what happened. That's what happened to Eccles and Baby J, though. I mean, Eccles got brought over from the UK. He's like 21 years old, gets brought over from the UK, plays 2 matches with them, and gets cut. And then Baby J
Get his visa, and he was here.
It did.
Or here in the US.
Certainly, yeah.
And then Baby J's got a 3-year contract that, of course, has like a clause, we can terminate you for no reason. So this is nonsense. And then ends up getting let go. So, yeah, I think
And
it's
by the way,
a very valid point for those 2.
Being as me and Sideshow have both been through the nightmare American visa process, which in the modern day, sadly, always ends with, you never get the first time. They always do the, like, requires more evidence, which just means it takes even more time, right? If I went through all that, Sideshow, and then that specific visa was tied to one org that then caught me 2 weeks later, these guys are fucking fairly disciplined boys. I'd fucking melt down on the internet, like, because if people don't get it, the premise would be, if you don't play for that team, that visa no longer works. Like, essentially, you have to go through, it's a very complicated process as well, like swapping the visa to a different company that becomes like sort of your sponsor. It's a nightmare. You don't want to do that, put it that way. Unless they were lucky, and maybe if they were smart, they did it through an agency. Sadly, I'd imagine in the modern day, players just let the org handle it. Well, a couple of things to say. One, on the Hiko thing, here's the reason why I asked if it was dissenting, though. Because the thing about Hiko is this, is he is, as you would expect on camera, he's a very slick individual, right? So here's the thing, he's not dumb. He's not ever going to do a stream where he openly flames anyone, by the way. He will always do it in like a subtle way like this. Like, essentially, I actually think, Gio, he knows what you're talking about. He knows that isn't great for the team. Essentially, this is like his version of being a little bit sneaky and sort of being like, I'll get my own fans essentially to put pressure on the org to say kind of like shit or get off the pot and just get us some good players. Like, the message in there is sort of like, either we didn't get the players we wanted, or like, why are they offering us these players? You're sort of trying to like out like dirty laundry, aren't you? Because in that scenario, like what positive can come out of it except that? Like, I think he's essentially trying to manipulate 100 Thieves to do something about it.
It's a tough position for him to be in, though, because he's not at his peak in terms of community support for 100 Thieves. If he was in that situation a year back, or let's say 6 months ago even, then people would be all over it, and they'd be, the clutch god wants some people moved around his team. That's what should happen. But the narrative is very, very sharply turned. Very sharply turned in the last 6 months away from him. And I think his stock has really never been lower for them. So I think, if there were changes to be made and he was putting pressure on the org to do that, I think his neck would be on the chopping block. So, perhaps he just sees that coming and he's looking for content creation stuff, though, because I think he is, unfortunately, I'm not wishing it upon him, but unfortunately, he does seem to be one of the CS big name giants that will slowly fade away throughout 2022. Some people like that do revitalize their careers, but I just can't see it happening.
Want to see more cool, funny, interesting clips based on topics from my content? Well, subscribe to this channel then, or, be a pleb and don't.